like hand draw it and make it because I can't find any clip art or anything that I want. But my husband's tablet, those fancy things, it has like a sketch app, and so I just was drawing it. I was like, oh, this is probably easier than me trying to figure out different Photoshop stuff. So yeah, it's been fun drawing my little guy. Bless you.
That's awesome. Well, you can draw better than I can. I can't draw with beans.
Well, Pinterest helps. If I have something to look off of, I can draw a little guy.
Perfect.
But yeah, we're good.
Good, good. How are the rest of you guys doing with your lesson plans and your flyers and getting things booked?
Oh, for me, lessons plan's been pretty good, like pretty straightforward. I was like turned it late because like at the last moment I was like, oh, this thing I don't think I have enough time to cover it, so I just totally threw it out the window and did a different thing. But but no, like when like the thing is for me is trying to find a place to piggyback on because like I already went to like 3 or 4 organizations and they all like rejected me and like for various reasons. Like they're overscheduled because this is more in the summertime. Or like I guess once the privacy issues, which I'm still confused about, so I sent an email to ask like exactly, what privacy issues like there would be, because I maybe I didn't like explain like exactly what we do, because we don't. It's not like we're gonna take the people's names. It's like, oh, this is like exactly who we're teaching, and it's not like a therapy, so.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So like I emailed them and I'm just like a loss because I want to piggyback. It's easy to piggyback on an organization instead of, do it on your own. So if I may have to do it to the library. So hopefully my dad's looking into another organization he volunteers for, so hopefully we'll get something. I don't know. It's just been a kind of frustrating few weeks on that part of it. So
Oh, that'd be
yeah.
stressful. Are you stressed out?
I should be more. Like more and more I'm like, I don't know, I was gonna maybe have to do it myself. So yeah.
Good. How's yours going, Gretchen?
I think it's going pretty good. I taking a different approach to it than I was expecting to take. And so I've been kind of learning a lot with as I've been preparing things and stuff because I wasn't necessarily planning on taking the approach I'm going to be taking, but all my research is like leading me to take that approach. So that's more of what I'm doing. And so I'm just kind of like working on changing my plans around a little bit to accommodate it the most.
Good.
Working on being flexible.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that we were reading about. So go you. Be flexible. How you doing, Madison?
I think I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got everything scheduled and my I just need to figure out some more interactive ways to incorporate into my lesson plan. So it's not just all lecture, because I hate lecture
Hmm.
settings for the most part. And so I wanted more discussion. So I'm just trying to figure. I just wanted to get all the meat in for the workshop, and then I'll just start fine tuning it to see how I can make it more interactive. But
Well, good luck.
thanks. Perfect. So we only had 2 weeks of reading this time around, right?
Yes. As
Okay.
far as yeah, I'm gonna say that's what I saw on there this week. I was pretty happy. It was only
Phew.
2. Yeah, and I got a lot out of not necessarily the diversity chapter, like chapter 7, but I got a lot out of the week 5, so last week, and then the week before, just in building our lesson plan. I've never done anything like this before ever, and teaching is not my forte. I've never thought about teaching ever either, and so it really helped give me a mental outline of what I wanted to do and where I wanted stuff to go in my workshop, because last week was stressful putting all that workshop stuff in, all that curriculum, and sometimes I can be really pessimistic and be like, oh, this is just busy work. I don't want to do this. But this week actually really did help me out, learning and trying to prioritize what I wanted to learn or teach the audience and what my audience needs to know. And that kind of helped me prioritize all my research because I had like 200 pages of research, and that kind of helped file some stuff away and not have to worry about it. So I really got a lot out of this last 2 weeks. It's just the nerd in me, I guess.
No, I did too. So let's start with week 4, and so that's when we read chapters 4 and 5, and then we read in the Gospel Handbook pages 11 through 15 and 17 through 29. Is there anything in there that stuck out to you guys that you liked, or how you can apply that to your workshop?
I really with the gospel teachings and stuff, again, that pessimistic part of me is like, well, I'm not teaching gospel stuff, so do I really need this? But it did help in a lot of just the teaching steps that they had in there were functional for like other teaching things, and in order to be a good teacher, you do want to edify people. You want to educate them. You want them to feel. You don't want them to leave your workshop feeling like total losers or downers or anything. You want to give them hope or excitement even. And I thought that in or the week 4 reading with that kind of helped my perspective a little bit, and kind of like the role of the teacher, but also the student also has a responsibility to learn. It's not always a lot of college students, me included, are like, oh, this teacher, but at the same time I've got my own responsibility of being the student to learn how to learn. Anyway, that's what I got out of the gospel part of that week's reading.
That's I was kind of that way too. I'm like, well, how do I really apply this? And what I took away from it is that the Spirit teaches it teaches all truth, secular and spiritual. And so I know that if I live the gospel, and I try and have the Spirit with me at all times, that when I'm teaching my workshop, like, he'll totally help me out, and he'll help me, he'll help teach that secular truth to those in the room, even though I'm not teaching gospel principles, or I mean, not gospel. I'm not teaching like the gospel, and mentioning it, and I'm not necessarily teaching it to members. The Spirit can still teach all truth, and so that kind of gave me encouragement, because I get so nervous in front of people, and just to know that I can have them with me still was really comforting.
Yeah, and also I was looking at my notes over here, and it's the gifts of the Spirit. I pray a lot because I feel overwhelmed by life a lot. I don't know about you guys, but you can pray for certain gifts because and everyone's kind of blessed with their own gifts and everything, and I think that praying for the gift of knowledge, because this is material that to be credible we need to know. So we're not kind of laughed at when we're up there, right? So I think just praying for those kind of spiritual gifts can really, not just for me anyway, not just help with like my anxiety about it, but actually help me be credible and understandable when I'm trying to convey what I'm trying to teach.
That's really.
I also liked how a lot of it kind of focused on making your participants feel comfortable, and helping them being willing to speak up and to talk, because I've actually taught a lot through just church, and before I switched my major to marriage and family, I was actually going into teaching. And so I'm very familiar with teaching in general. And something that I've always struggled with is how to make my participants feel comfortable. Because it seems like you always have, those 3 or 4 that will always speak up. But I don't want it to always be the same people talking. And so I liked how it kind of talked about like making them feel comfortable and and kind of about how, like, as you share different things and stuff, and it will help them feel more comfortable with you as the teacher, and so they'll be more willing to speak up and to share because they are more comfortable with you.
It's a good point.
Yeah, I got something. Mine was something similar. Got out is that I had a goal for more like compassion from both the teaching the gospel and the or just like chapters in general. I have like a lot of lines. I'm like I'm gonna skip like because yeah, like talk about how they need to be comfortable. Like I just need to get I guess be more I guess understanding. There's a lot of quotes I liked. Oh man, that's actually later for there's I have like 9 pages of stuff, and so I need to find where they're all out. But I I know I really like the I guess besides just like the compassion thing, I like in what I got from the gospel like readings is that for I'm not sure I just grouped them all together. This is not good, but I liked how about questions too, and like how the I guess it helped me to see like what questions might ask them and like to help apply it to their life. Like if they don't think of what you're teaching, they can apply it to your life. Like kind of what's the point of teaching it? And so I decided it helped me like write my lesson plan a lot to put like kind of goals if I want them to learn per activity. And so at least that's one main thing I got from the gospel readings at least.
Making it relevant.
Yeah. Yep. Because it's pointless to I guess it's not it's if you don't think it affects your life, I don't think you'll care to learn it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think you're right. Um, there's a section called the art of teaching, and I think that kind of goes over what you guys were talking about. There had 3 elements, and so it was effective teaching, the relevance, respect, and then participation. Is what you kind of want your workshops to go around.
Yeah, I'm seeing where that's at in my notes. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, and I mean,
Oh, go for
sorry.
it.
I was gonna say, when you're teaching, well, and kids too, and adults, no one likes to be told that they're doing something wrong. When that's not, and I'm always afraid I'm gonna do that. Like, no, you're doing this wrong. But you know, adults, one of the things that I got from when I was reading, in the chapter 5 was adults have a deep need for self-directing, and it's kind of up to us as teachers to kind of lead them in that direction rather than, I guess, preaching at them or telling them, which I'm just afraid I'll always end up doing. So, like, the empathy and, like, having compassion on people is probably a really good thing for me to remember when I'm going over this kind of stuff.
That's really good. It talked about having compassion for everyone's stories, and sometimes that's hard, but you just kind of have to have it. Like, but yeah, compassion. That's a good one. Oh, and then I liked how it said to be passionate about what you teach. Because I know, like, when I've had teachers like that are super passionate, it makes a world of difference. Even if it's a topic that I'm not interested in, I usually get really excited, and I'm excited to do all the assignments and everything because their passion rubs off on me. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, I agree. With some teachers or even some subjects, you can totally hate it, but if a teacher is enthusiastic about it, I had a grammar class that I absolutely like hated, but my teacher was so passionate about grammar, and I was like, how are you passionate about commas? And I was an English major for a while. I'm like, I don't understand this, but he was, and he made it enjoyable, and just because that kind of attitude is really contagious. And I think when you're dealing with such like what can be such sensitive subjects, having like a positive, compassionate but like enthusiastic attitude can really make a difference in keeping like people's attention and having them apply things and just enjoying your class in general. Yeah, I agree.
there anything else that you guys got out of it? I'm just looking through my notes to make sure I
Yeah.
covered.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what we haven't already said. Cause like I don't know, cause I have all the notes that basically say like the kind of like the same thing what we're talking about. So I really like being compassionate. Cause I know I get sometimes frustrated with people because they're like I don't. For me, it's something so easy, So like it's such a simple answer, but for some people, it's so hard for them to understand like a concept or to say, oh wait, maybe this is a good idea. And so like I don't know, for example, if you were teaching about like addictions, like oh maybe like drugs are bad for me, and you're like oh why for like us like we can see it clearly, and so that's why I know for me it's like a goal like what's my all the readings I put I was like be more compassionate like and like listen like you guys are even talking about so I'm trying to find notes that have something new, but it's mostly the same like even if what they're telling, sharing their stories and their frustrations, even if they're doing the wrong thing, like still, like at least be at their level, understand like what they're feeling. And so it's just that it's be a lot of humility and to help them feel like they're loved, like that they're loved. And so at least that's what I'm trying to get other things I put down, but it's just yep.
I I'm looking at my notes here and I wrote down like a great teacher will honor what they say and their statement, but they'll also like invite other possibilities um to their mind of thinking and stuff and I think that's kind of what you stated in a way, but I don't know. I think that it's more important for us to listen first and then reply because when we're listening, we're able to understand more. We're able to really take what they're saying and learn from it. I think that was more of in week 5 where it's talking about like learning from your audience as well. But but it also talks about like inviting them to the other possibilities. Like there isn't just one way to do things, there's lots of ways to do things. And so we have to present our invitations in a way that are inviting to them, things that they're wanting to do and that make them think that hey, this could actually be better than what I'm already doing.
Yeah, like that just show them like yeah, that's what we want to, is to help them know like this is better, to try it out at least. One of the things too I found out, or not found out when I was going through reading is I felt like I should kind of like what we were saying before, or I forgot who said it about being them wanting to be like self-directed too, not just like being like kind of like told what to do, is that I think maybe more money, but buy like those all a dollar notebooks and like get a thing of pens and say, hey, like you have this in the beginning of the lesson, if you feel any impressions that you have, like not say like the spirit, but like any type of things or thoughts or any ideas that you want to try, you can write down in your notebook why this workshop comes along. Because people, I think they'll get their kind of in the, even though it's not spiritual, I think in the sense they'll get their own revelation, like what personally will be more what they need to do, what could help them be more beneficial, I guess, in their lives. Because like even if it's something that doesn't really apply to them, you can still learn something from it. And they could take something else that they need to do, even if it's not directly like the same type of like I don't know, like model or something. They can still, I think, take something and apply it to their lives is good.
Mhm.
So yeah, it'll be a little bit more money, but I think it'll be good.
That does
Last
sound like a
week,
good idea.
oh, go
Sorry.
for it.
Just saying it sounded like a good idea.
Last week I sat through a training, and the presenter, she kind of did something like that where she helped the helped all of us like make it applicable, like kind of like the so what that we learned about in that gospel reading was like, so what? What's this information important to? And so she had each one on a piece of paper. It was with working with kids with disabilities, so they each have one-on-one kids. And we drew a picture of our little person that we work with. And she said, write down some behaviors that just drive you crazy. And so we wrote down some behaviors and we shared them. And then as we went through the class, she kept bringing it back. Well, how can this, how can what you're learning be applied to that behavior? How does that make sense? And so throughout the whole lesson, we were thinking about those specific things that we wrote down on our piece of paper and then applying the information she was giving us. So it's just like what you said, just making it applicable and making that knowledge more personable.
That's a really good idea. Like, now I'm like, maybe I should use that idea. of that. That sounds really good because I kind of have a difficulty in like learning something and then making it applicable to the actual like real life circumstance. And I don't know if other people have that struggle. I just know I do. I think that would be like really helpful. Taking a moment. Okay, now how do you apply it?
Mm-hmm.
That way, people aren't leaving the workshop just going overwhelmed or not. Not knowing. Oh, I just learned all this stuff, but I didn't learn how to use all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea. I think I'll be taking a note on that.
Go for it. That's what I'm doing in my class.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I feel like it kind of we're shifting into chapter 6 because a lot of my notes, at least at the beginning of the chapter, are like about the different group discussions and kind of different games or methods you could use to help um, leading your group discussions and helping them see that it's applicable.
Yeah, I think you're right. What are some ways, or what are some things that you guys are doing in your workshops? Because I'm still working on that, but do you guys have any great ideas?
So I'm actually going to
Sorry,
be talking
go ahead,
about
Lizzie. No, I'm just looking. Go ahead.
I'm actually going to be talking about the love languages in mine, and so I'm thinking about having them actually take the quiz during my workshop and helping them explore like what love language is yours, what love language does your spouse have, and then taking the quiz and the results and being like, well, okay, so this is how you interact with each other, or these are things that would help you have a better relationship with each other as you share your love for each other in a way that helps them be the most receptive to it.
I love the love languages because I'm completely one different love language and my husband's a different one. And so I was always like doing what I love, to show him that I love him, and he would do the opposite to me. And I'm like, and so there was that. And then we took that test. It was a long time ago, and I was like, oh my goodness, now I know. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, with mine trying to make it applicable. I have a lot of there's some lecture in there, but then there's a lot of there's not storytelling so much as like examples or scenarios that I'm trying to get them to think about, and then of course respond and talk about afterwards. And I'm hoping that with like some demonstration tools that I'm going to have and other things that they'll be able to walk away. And of course, I'm going to have a handout too that's going to have a bunch of information because you can write stuff down, but it can always help to have things in like bullet format and things that are easy to follow a little bit. And so that's what I'm going to have. I'll have some demonstration tools and then some just class-like scenarios where we'll kind of talk about how to handle meltdowns and like what the stages are, and if you see something happening, what should you do? And that way it is more applicable to what they're there for.
That's really good.
And then I didn't take a whole lot of notes on the working with diverse audiences, mostly because I felt like that was for I don't know, a group that you had more time to teach. There's a lot of stuff in there for for longer teaching times or longer workshops. And there's stuff that you can use too for short, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to know who my audience is in the general sense. So I took a lot of notes, but I'm not sure how applicable they're going to be for my situation. If that makes sense. But it was really good, there were really good advice and highlights in there for future workshops. But for this one, it's well, a couple of things might be applicable, but so I don't have much to say on chapter 7.
That's okay. No, yours is a very specific audience too, so you definitely.
Yeah, no, I think the same thing because I think a lot of it is if you had more control of or almost not control of your audience, but it's kind of we don't have enough time to help them as much or know exactly what's going on in their lives. So because people want to come will come, And so yeah, I understand I because it was the same for me. I couldn't find exactly a lot of stuff that could help me too much, but at least I just in order I guess just a sense of being more sensitive and just listen to them.
There was I was talking about family structure and audiences, and it said don't on living configurations on them. Basically, how we think our family doesn't necessarily mean that's how they think their family should be. Try not to base a lot of stuff on opinion. You really want to base stuff in scholarly facts and not push your own personal beliefs on people. That's kind of one of the quotes that I got out of there was, be respectful and understand that families are different with different cultures and different backgrounds, and what you think is important and how you load the dishwasher isn't necessarily how they would load the dishwasher, for a petty example.
Yeah, there's more ways than one to skin a cat. Yep.
Here, I see a lot of different people that have come into San Antonio. We have the Hispanic culture, and we have a lot of Middle Eastern people here, and a lot of African people here, and we also got a lot of refugees that have recently come in to the city, and so I feel like I have a very diverse audience. Um, and so I think it's something as I was reading, okay, am I applying this to stuff that's just in my head and what I'm used to, or am I making everything that I'm going to teach applicable to those of any race or any ethnic group or any type of family situation? Because, there is a lot of that here. And so I think it applied to me a little bit more because of the fact that I do have to make sure that I don't offend anyone, and that and the fact that I am going to be teaching to so many different types of people.
Yeah, that'll be tricky for you. I remember that'll be really fun though because you get so many different perspectives and different culture perspectives too because cultures are definitely play into their beliefs and how they do the things or why they do the things they do. So that'll be so interesting for you. And then I also going along with that, I talked about activities for some cultures are very cooperative and very oh I can't think of the word anyways, and other people are very competitive and individualistic, and so it'll be hard to find that balance between how to get people involved so you don't create any anxiety or discomfort. But that'll be good. That'll be fun. That'll be really fun. One thing that I took away is learn to read your audience and adapt to them. And I'm sure each of us have taught primary or something, in the church, and you learn to you can see when they start getting bored or when they start getting kind of sidetracked. And so I think that's important to read our audience and then be able to be flexible and adjust our lesson to accommodate for them so that they can really get a lot out of it.
That's a good point. You can always kind of see when I start wondering or people start fidgeting, and you really need to be kind of flexible. Of well, let's switch it up and do something a little bit more attention getting. And I'm so like rigid. I'm afraid of that. Where I'm like, oh man, I have to be adaptable. Okay, and so I feel like I should have printed scenarios and know how to adapt.
Yeah, I think for me it's a little bit the same just for activities because well my first lesson is just more discussion and small group discussion like bigger or just back to the whole class discussion. But I'm trying to find a way. I know for I use it next time, but like I want like something more. Maybe use it more youth. I want more games because like I always think games are more fun. And so I was thinking like even though it won't be for this lesson, I know if I want to do it for women lessons, I want to go over the ABCX model.
Mhm.
And I want to go. I'm trying to think of ways to do a game where like physically like they have like these are your resources and what can you do with this problem.
Oh, that'd be kind of
That's that's not too intense, but maybe it is like tricky. Like it's just gonna be. I'm not quite sure exactly what I should do, but I think it'd be fun. So there's some sort of activity that can let them like I guess get the point across, or like at least get see that model in a different way.
like an objective lesson almost.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be really good.
I'm trying to figure out some type of game because I like the idea, but I'm like I don't know what to do. So,
Well, you have like the different resources. You have like your community resources, your family resources, your um, like wasn't there like a psychological resource or something like that?
yeah, I think whatever resource is available. Yeah.
And then you could have like a little bag for each one, and then they can only pick out like one or two resources, and then they have to figure out how they can use that resource in their certain scenario that you give them or something like that.
Oh, that's a good idea. 'Cause, like the only other idea I had was one that my family did last week. They had these cookies in this container, and it was locked on like it was locked onto the table, and so with all these chains and stuff, and so there are different like locks and stuff, and there's different puzzles we have to figure out to find the keys and to open it. And I like the idea, but maybe I'll make it simpler. But I like your idea too, where you can just like you only have this many resources, and what can you use, or like or how but I guess like, I want to open it too, where open the minds where they're not stuck with a couple resources, but they could get more if they wanted to. Like they could ask around, like with each other, or they can. I
Mm-hmm.
guess I want to help them open their minds that you're not just stuck with like one or two resources.
That'd be
I
good.
think
Make it
that's my
interactive.
goal. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to do that or influence that, in whatever type of activity I do, but I want to help them know that like even though you have these resources, maybe you can also try a search to see if you can have more. There's more help out there.
Yeah. You get more resources by asking more people and talking with them, and
Yeah, I
because
like
that's
helping. I think an idea.
word of mouth is huge for resources. So that's awesome.
I think that'll help a lot. Thanks for the ideas. It's like using resources. Us talking together helps us out.
Yep. Perfect. Is there anything else that you guys liked or had questions about?
I think that was it. A lot of it was my notes were covered, so it's
Mhm.
good.
Oh, I had one more. It says that you don't have to answer all the questions. You can redirect them back to the group, and I love that because like sometimes like I'm teaching about adolescence, and I've worked with them my whole life. But at the same time, like I've never been a parent to an adolescent, and so being able to not have that pressure of answering the questions because I don't have that personal experience, I can be like, well, what do you guys think? What has worked for you guys? And kind of throw it back to the group, and that made me like, oh, like the whole stress just kind of. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, like one of the groups I'll be teaching is going to be like BYU Idaho students in the child development area. And yeah, I think I like that idea of what do you guys think? What would be a plan for you if a child is starting to have a sensory meltdown? What do you think you should do, or what is a design in the classroom that you could use? I like that idea. Taking another note, be like, oh yeah, I need to make sure that I ask them.
Yeah. Same here. I like that idea a lot. I may have to, I guess. Like, I want, it'd be good to, like, tool to have to ask at least my audience members. It'll help them also, like, think other ways too. Yeah, for notes though, as for notes, I don't think anything else. I think we've mostly covered it. I just, a lot of the notes too are more for my personal reference too, like all the different ways you could, teach, you can use like music or pictures or like object lessons or role playing or buzz groups. Like I just wrote a lot of that stuff I just wrote down just so I can use it later to know.
Get some
Because
ideas.
not, yeah, just so we know. Because I always like, oh, this is a good idea, but I'm like, maybe I should actually write these ideas down so I can quickly look back into my notes and look at that way. But yeah, but I don't want to like tell them to you because basically we read the same thing and they're just the same. But I love role playing for me because I was a missionary, so I think I may force my my poor group to role play.
I
Because role
hate
playing
role.
is role playing is so effective. I love it.
It really is. It really is. I just hate like going in front of people, I guess. But
Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do if I was gonna do role play, I know for a mission was really effective if we role played not in front of people, because I don't like the whole front of the classroom, like, hey, role play this. But I think I'll just break out into like small groups and you just role play with each other, and then just talk about what we learned. Because even I don't like role playing in front of people, so
I'm
it's
such
just
a
weird.
horrible actress, so I'm like, I don't like looking dumb in
So,
front of people.
same. But yeah.
Perfect. Gretchen, did you have anything else?
I think that like just making sure we're adapting to our audience. Some audiences are gonna be more willing to do certain things than other audiences, and it goes back to that whole flexibility thing. We just have to make sure we're flexible with what we're doing and make sure that what we're doing also can be done in a variety of things, like with the role play. If you have a group that's comfortable enough to come up in front of everybody, you could do that, but you can also, do it in the small group situation and different things. Like, what are you, kind of making sure that what you're doing can change for the environment of the people you have, so that they can all best participate in the way that's going to be best for them.
Perfect. You nailed it on the head. Cool. Well, do you guys need help with anything with your lessons or anything?
Not yet. just
I
just
guess we're doing our
feedback's
pilot.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
feedback's good.
Who are you guys doing your pilots for this week?
Um, sorry, go ahead.
What did you say?
So I have a great visiting teacher
Oh,
who I asked, and she's a nurse, so that I was like, oh, that can count. And then I basically just got on Facebook and was like, I'm having a freak out because now I have to practice, and I know 6 people, and anyway, so lots of people on Facebook were like, we're available, we're available. So in an hour, I'll be going to teach more people or practice more people, and we've gotten some good feedback. I say a lot. I didn't realize I said a lot, but I do. So I need to work on that, and fake the confidence until you have it. That's another thing I have to work on. So it's been good so far, and I think I just want to get it done and out of the way. So hopefully I get it all done today, and I'm done.
yeah, that would be great. Really good. Well, we'll let you go practice and get ready for that.
Sure.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.